What's up, comic fans? Welcome back to Falcomic. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into a fascinating and dark alternate universe where Tony Stark takes a sinister turn and becomes a cunning dictator. This story unfolds in With an Iron Fist from Exiles Volume 1, issues 23 to 25. So, grab your snacks, get comfy, and let's unravel this twisted tale. In this alternate reality, known as Universe 42777, Tony Stark is not the charming, witty billionaire we're used to. Instead, he's a power-hungry mastermind with grand ambitions that lead him down a dark path. It all starts with his meticulous plan to dominate the global economy. Tony begins by establishing a network of companies that appear to be independent entities. To the public, they seem like separate businesses, but in reality, they're all interconnected and under Tony's control. This clever maneuver allows him to create a monopoly without anyone realizing what's happening behind the scenes. As tensions rise in the world, a conflict known as the Mutant War erupts. This is where Tony sees his opportunity to step into the spotlight. He dons the Iron Man suit and presents himself as the protector of humanity, fighting against Magneto and his army of mutants. But here's the kicker. While the world sees him as a hero battling against the mutant threat, he's secretly funding Magneto's operations. Yes, you heard that right. Tony is manipulating the situation to instigate the war, all to eliminate potential threats to his power. The battles are fierce, and the casualties are high, including the loss of iconic heroes like Captain America. But Tony's ultimate goal is to reduce the number of super beings on Earth, making it easier for him to maintain control. After a series of brutal confrontations, Tony manages to confront Magneto and, in a shocking turn of events, kills him live on television. This act catapults Tony to the status of the most admired and respected hero on the planet. The world cheers for him, completely unaware of the dark machinations behind his rise to power. But Tony's thirst for control doesn't stop there. He orchestrates a deadly virus that decimates livestock, followed by a catastrophic fungus that destroys half of the world's wheat crop. This leads to a global famine known as the Great Famine, resulting in millions of deaths due to food shortages. As the world suffers, Stark Industries swoops in with a cure and vaccine, restoring the agricultural industry and saving countless lives. Naturally, Tony's popularity skyrockets, and he decides to run for president. He wins with the highest number of votes in U.S. history, all while the public remains blissfully unaware of his role in the disasters that plagued them. Once he's in office, Tony's schemes only grow more elaborate. He secretly develops technology to control the weather and even cause earthquakes. With this newfound power, he orchestrates terrifying natural disasters in various countries across Europe and Asia. As nations struggle to recover, Tony offers financial aid in exchange for control over them. Meanwhile, countries in the Americas, aside from the United States, face severe economic collapse, which Tony also orchestrates. Desperate for assistance, these nations fall under his influence, further expanding his reach. Through these cunning tactics, Tony manages to dominate many countries on Earth, but his deception doesn't end there. He forms an alliance with none other than Dr. Doom. If you're familiar with Doom, you know he's not one to be trusted. This alliance leads to a devastating attack on Washington, D.C., resulting in the deaths of nearly all elected officials and Supreme Court judges. With the political structure of democracy in ruins, there's no one left to challenge Tony's authority. He becomes a lifelong president with unlimited power, effectively turning into a dictator. However, unlike his previous collaboration with Magneto, this partnership with Doom is fraught with hidden agendas. Doom, ever the schemer, has his own plans to seize power from Tony. When the time is right, he attacks Tony, leading to an intense battle between the two. But Tony, with his advanced technology and cunning, manages to defeat Doom and seize his throne, leaving him with no opposition. He stands as the undisputed ruler of Earth. As Tony consolidates his power, he becomes increasingly paranoid about dissent. One day, he receives reports that a journalist named Roxanne Malvere from the National Review is questioning the Iron Man armor he wears. Since his duel with Doom, Tony has been wearing the same armor, and Roxanne's persistent criticisms frustrate him. In a fit of rage, he orders his subordinates to arrange for her assassination, believing that the media should serve as a tool for his propaganda rather than a source of criticism. After this chilling conversation, Tony heads to his personal doctor for a routine checkup. During the examination, it's revealed that his face has suffered severe damage from his battle with Doom. To maintain his public image, Tony uses holograms to project his former appearance. However, he's anxious to restore his real face, which has been marred by the brutal confrontation. While in the middle of this examination, one of his subordinates rushes in with urgent news. In his haste, Tony activates the hologram again and scolds the subordinate, but his anger quickly dissipates when he hears the good news. They've detected a target in the Pacific Ocean, the Inhumans. The Inhumans are a race of superpowered beings living in a floating city called Attilan, led by Black Bolt, whose partner is the Invisible Woman, Susan Storm. Tony sees the Inhumans as the perfect subjects for his experiments. He wants to study their powers and DNA to replicate their abilities and create a formidable army. To him, the Inhumans are not intelligent beings deserving of respect. They are merely tools to be exploited for his grand designs. However, unbeknownst to Tony, Reed Richards has uncovered his nefarious plans during the Mutant War. Reed, always the hero, warns several others, including Susan Storm. Tragically, Tony acts swiftly to eliminate any threats to his ambitions, murdering Reed and Black Bolt's wife, Medusa, in cold blood. Susan manages to escape and reunites with the Inhumans in Attilan, where she eventually marries Black Bolt. As Tony intensifies his pursuit of the Inhumans, he becomes increasingly ruthless. He's determined to capture them, believing that their powers will give him the edge he needs to conquer not just Earth, but the entire universe. He sets his sights on alien nations like the Skrulls and Kree, planning to launch an assault on them once he has his army of superpowered beings. The Inhumans, aware of Tony's intentions, do everything they can to hide from him. Fortunately, Attilan is equipped with a cloaking shield that makes it undetectable by Tony's technology. However, disaster strikes when the cloaking shield malfunctions, forcing them to turn it off for repairs. This lapse in security allows Tony's forces to pinpoint their location. Without wasting any time, Tony sends a massive contingent of armored soldiers to Attilan, ordering them to capture as many Inhumans as possible. When Tony's forces arrive, the Inhumans put up a fierce fight. The flying Inhumans rush to confront the armored soldiers, leading to an epic aerial battle. But Black Bolt has a secret plan in place for such an emergency. An Inhuman scientist named Arcturus is busy preparing a powerful technology called G-Barrier. When activated, G-Barrier creates an impenetrable energy bubble that protects the Inhumans from Tony's forces. Anything that tries to breach it is instantly obliterated. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Before the Mutant War, Galactus, the cosmic entity known for devouring planets, had come to Earth in a weakened state. The heroes managed to defeat him, and Reed Richards struck a deal with Galactus. He would restore Galactus's strength, but in return, Galactus would never come to devour Earth again. To ensure compliance, Galactus provided Reed with the technology for the energy bubble, which is now being used to protect the Inhumans. This technology is so powerful that even Galactus himself cannot penetrate it. Back in the White House, Tony receives reports about G-Barrier and its devastating effects. Not only is it impenetrable, but the activation of G-Barrier creates a shock wave that annihilates his forces. A staggering 40,000 armored soldiers are killed in this incident. This news sends Tony into a furious rage. He's frustrated and humiliated, realizing that his plans are unraveling, Just when he thinks things can't get worse, he hears footsteps approaching. Assuming it's an intruder, Tony instinctively points his repulsor at the newcomer, ready to unleash his wrath. But, to his surprise, it's a group called Weapon X. They claim they can fix everything and help him achieve his goals. Weapon X is a team of beings who have been kidnapped by the Time Broker from various universes. They're forced to work together on missions across different realities, with the promise of being returned to their own worlds once their tasks are completed. The group is led by Gambit, and its members include Vision, Hulk, Angel, Storm, and Spider. Each of these characters comes from a unique background, bringing their own skills and dark histories to the table.